That looks like something that Parramatta Football Club would be really proud of.
Yeah. So it used to be a better electrical. It is on. It's on a fair piece of. It's about 1,700 square meters.
No, 1,700 is the building space. It's on 3,500 square meters of land.
Yeah.
And we have 50-odd parking spots. I can't remember the number. I counted them last time, but I think there's 51 or 52 parking spots.
Mm.
So, oh, there we go. 3,821 square meters.
Yeah.
And then there's 1,930 square meters building, of which 1,700 is ground floor. That's a huge space. Right, 50 plus on-site car parking spaces. So they put about as much effort into counting them as I did.
So the upside of this is that it is with this property, what we're seeing here is what we're going to do is, obviously with the delay settlement, we're not paying them any interest. This time allows us, with the right insurance, which we are at the moment negotiating, we're almost there at the moment, is that we've actually, after some back and forth, the vendor is actually going to take this property into his group policy, which again will save us some more money. Yep. He's currently paying $40,000 as on this property because it's vacant. Now that will go to a third. We've been quoted to be around 15,000. Because it's now tenanted. We effectively put a lease on it because we would be doing a fit out as well. And I've been working with 2 insurance brokers on this actual property to make sure the insurance is just right. Also, there's the construction works policy, which allows us to renovate the property.
Yes.
That means we're actually halving some of the outgoings because as part of it, we're paying the outgoings for the year as well. The idea is that we're going to, it's on the major corner in Albury. So Lavington is the center and hub of Albury. It's in that 5 ways intersection, and we'll have allied health, medical, professional tenants in there as well. And bulky goods, actually the other day came up with a, we had a discussion, I had a brainstorm. I pulled up to Macca's in the morning to get hotcakes, and I thought, what if we could just actually get fast food in there? And I asked Stephen the question, well...
Can we get fast food in there? Hell yes. So, and the burgers are better at Hungry Jack's. Not saying who we're thinking about.
No.
And advertising has zero effect.
So we're going to canvass for that and the bulky goods area to see if we can actually be able to attract a like tenant, and what we need to actually get that tenant in there at the moment.
Yeah, we can try. We're going to work through a drive-through and parking and all of those sort of fun things.
Yeah. So things are ever evolving with something like this, but this is very exciting. This is also not for the faint-hearted. You can see that the photos in here, it's actually quite substantial, quite open plan. Not the prettiest building, but it is also not the hardest building to refurbish.
No.
But it does. But like anything to refurbish 1,700 square meters plus, it's timely, and it does cost. And also we need to also fit it out as tenant incentives to attract the top quality of tenants as well.
Absolutely. And look, the only thing that's even a little bit hard work in this is we need to put in some bathrooms downstairs, because at the moment it's an old design and all of the toilets are upstairs. So on this left-hand side over here, we're going to run some new toilet blocks. You can see the columns in the building. The building actually quite nicely divides into 3 just by putting a firewall where those lines, the line of columns is. So we'll just a firewall across here, another one at the front, another one at the back. That divides the building into 3 quite nicely, and then we can cut it up even smaller than that, depending upon which tenants we get.
Yeah, absolutely. So, okay, so that's all the.
That's all the waffle. That's a pretty picture.
That's a picture of what that is, and that it's got the dual street access. It's got the parking, and so what we loved about this is the parking, because we know if we're going to have allied health or medical, we are going to need the parking, and that's the one thing they ask for as soon as we want to put those type of tenants in there. Yep,
and it's not necessarily obvious from this because it's slightly different colour, but this second lump of parking down the bottom here is included as well. So that's where we get a lot of these parking spots. So it's an amazing property. And, I know everybody's here because they have faith in Helen, but this building is currently insured for $4 million and we just paid 1.4.
Yeah. Yeah.
Allow that to sink in if you
Wow.
don't believe it.
It's
Right?
sinking in. That's
Just
amazing.
contemplate that for half a minute.
Yeah.
So that was when we pulled out the insurance policy, and he said, "Oh, insure for 4 million." And that was one of the things that the vendor said, "Oh, you need to insure the building for 4 million. You're doing works on it." It just shows that the value, you couldn't build this building for what we bought it for.
You could barely buy the block of land for what we bought it for.
Mm.
Right? Even cheap construction is $1,500 a square metre. Right? So 1,900 times 1,500. So you'd be in for $3 to $3.5 million to build this thing. Right?
Helen, you've done it again. and you've got the development guru right by your side. So powerful.
Well, Helen gets a little bit shy when I actually talk about this sort of stuff, and I'm sorry, but I think every now and again you got to look back and just say, hey, wow, this wasn't done by accident. This was done with a lot of thought and a lot of work,
a lot of experience and skill from both sides, from both of you coming together to look at this as the opportunity that it was and to snap it up. So very exciting.
It's very central, and I realize that when I look up and down and think, okay, well, we're 10 minutes from the airport, it's very central to everything. We can literally see Coles, and 6 stores down the road, they've got the properties that sold for anywhere between 5.5% to 7% yield. That it's and that was a time where the Albury has always been really strong in terms of their leasing, in terms of their sales, and they're largely insulated at the moment from the whole COVID, because what you find is that cities are being hit the hardest, and we hardly see any reports about the cases in regional areas. Huh. So so that's the first that deal. 20 of us come through, so unfortunately we can't go and party down there as we always plan to do.
We can when COVID's over.
When COVID's over, yes.
We've got 1,700 square metres. We've all got about 100 metres each.
Yes. So I think so for us the first thing would be, and luckily this is actually on this side of the New South Wales border, so we've just closed this deal off, so we're ordering asbestos removal because it's an older building. So the first thing we'll do is asbestos removal, then air conditioning. Stephen's team will be then down there to start refurbishing the property.
Yes.
So yes, that would happen beginning of the next financial year, so in a couple of months' time. But the whole point of this is actually our community all coming together. And for a small amount of money, we can all contribute into a group deal that still gets us results in a 3 to 4 year timeline. This will pass. COVID will pass. It's about actually snapping up and having the confidence, if not doing it on your own, but with a group, to achieve bigger deals in the future, that in 3 years' time, it will compress. In 4 years' time, market and all recovers will be there with the right properties, achieving great yields and also great capital returns. So all of these deals we're showing you are showing an ROI of 40 to 50% return on investment. So some of them will have an upfront component of that. Some of them will have, like the Albury one, just a straight back end component, but they all deliver way more than what you would do putting money in the bank, buying shares, or even investing in direct property right now. But only together we can do it.
You can't get 50% over 3 years in the bank? Really? I hadn't noticed. All right. Actually, if you went into the bank probably over 3 years, you wouldn't even get 3%, I don't think. Okay, let's be generous and say 4%. To get 50% over 3 years is huge. And something I must admit I didn't realise when we first started looking at this property is that Albury has 100,000 people live there. So it actually surprised me as to how many people were in the Albury-Wodonga area. It's one of the biggest regional areas in Australia, I think.
It is. And it's a great investment area for both Sydney-siders as well as Melburnians, because they're both very, very familiar with both Albury and Wodonga as well.
And the border runs right through the middle of it, so if you want to have an argument about it, you could stand on the border and, yell at each other.
But yes, so this is the that's the whole, wanted to give everyone an update of where we're up to. And of course, we want to be able to come to you, later on in a couple of months when Steve's team is there to be able to show you videos, photos of people on site doing things, to give you more of an update about what's happening, so you actually see it live, the things that's happening there, because it's all about being together and doing it together as a community, so that we all have a vested interest. And when I started out, I wanted the goal to really change people's lives through commercial property, and doing these deals, I can see that when it's done, it's actually going to make an impact for all of the people that participated in it. So yeah, so anyone having any questions regarding anything we've shown tonight, spoke about tonight? I know it's a bit of a long webinar, but there's lots and lots of exciting possibilities out there. And for those of you who are, going through stuff, negotiating with tenants, trying to work out what's best for you, it's really a very individual basis. And so it's about, working that out on a one-on-one basis. But I'm happy to talk to any of you regarding what you want to do with your tenants. We've got a team you can access. Speak to Russell if you properties in Queensland. If you are looking for a solicitor in Melbourne, we had Lewis O'Brien on last webinar, and we've got someone in Sydney who can help you as well. So make sure you tap into our community. Also, Graham's also there to help you as well, and we've got Greg who can help with any of the questions regarding leasing and management, property management. He does manage some of our clients and students' properties as well. So yes, any questions?
Yes, Helen, we've got some questions coming through.
Oh, excellent.
Are these group deals suitable for self-managed super fund?
Yes, so we've had self-managed super fund to come in, and the lending has been fine on them. That can't be a large proportion. We have to limit them to about a quarter of the participants, a quarter to a third of the participants. But yes, we've been able to do that.
Brilliant. We've got a comment. This is a very good deal. Well done. I agree. And we have another question, and that is, when will the next group deal be available? Some very keen participants, and I can see why.
Well, I'm always looking for the next deal.
Yes.
Stephen's slightly nervous. We're always looking for the next deal. So I'm actually on continuously on this on the lookout for the next deal. I've actually been with the Maryborough deal, been speaking a lot to Graham and to the banks, and been saying, look, really around that 2.5 to 3 mil range is really now becoming the sweet spot with something like that, which the banks are comfortable with. And so I will be on the lookout for these deals now even more, and I'm anticipating in the next couple of months, 2 to 3 months, we're going to have a lot more of these opportunities that come up. So I want to be there and ready. And this is also one of the things about updating you guys on it, so you know that we're still active.
Absolutely. And, with the COVID thing, everybody knows that when the market's been hit, there's going to be a bargain come up.
Yeah.
So I think this Mate Street Albury one's a fairly good indication of that. So let's just, watch this space. I know that Helen is looking at some stuff at the moment, and keep your powder dry and be ready to leap. Yeah. Because when it comes up, well, at the moment, when a bargain doesn't last very long, right? If it's got to a point where it's ready for us to jump on and get everybody serious and into the deal, then we're not going to be the only ones out there looking at going, hey, that's a good idea. Yeah, it's in this particular instance, it's testament to the fact that Helen was ready, got everything sorted. We paid the deposit the same day that we went and saw the property, and we got into it. Yeah. So, be ready and ready to jump. Yeah. That's the only suggestion.
With the Maryborough deal, we worked with the agent who was in contact with the mortgagee. There was also other agents that was working on this deal. There were also, the vendor was working with some potential buyers as well. So there was a few parties that were circling this. So we wanted to make sure as soon as we had the EOIs in that people were on the same page, and we moved forward and secured it. So it is really about when you get a deal and you get something that's almost a 9% yield on a petrol station or similar to a childcare, there is no time to waste.
No, it's not going to be around next week.
Yeah, and these deals only come up through this situation that we are in now. So we're in a unique situation. Recently, I posted an article in our Facebook group about there was an article about what some of the predictors are, what's going to happen after this COVID, and they really are predicting that for people who are that's going to knock out a lot of people who are scared and don't know the right direction for commercial property. For those who are bold and can hold out and stay on, they're going to reap the rewards many times over afterwards in the future. And I truly believe that in these group deals, we are going to in the next few years. And that's about all doing it together. And, you know, we can access so much more information. We can turn things around so much faster. We just have so much to access in our group, so that you know we can do things with confidence.
Do things quickly, and that's the key in this. If there is a bargain, it's about speed, and that's what happened on the Albury deal. It was done within about 24 hours. The deposit was paid within 24 hours.
So and that one we had to compete with other people, because there was a guy looking at it that he was going to put his own firm into it. He needed his head office to approve it, and then they were going to secure that deal. So for us, we really needed to be there with a New South Wales contract, because this is what we want, to be really clear with our strategy and to be able to secure that.
And again, awesome work.
Huge. Yeah, awesome work. Honestly, awesome work. I really don't think, you know, if one's not in it day in, day out the way you are, Helen and Stephen, it's hard for us to realise how quickly you're making assessments and making decisions, and, you know, sort of taking that initial step, as you said, just say, you know, making your assessment and saying, yep, okay, that's it, deposits going in, we're taking this opportunity. And that's where, you know, really being part of your community is a huge advantage. And having first dibs at these opportunities and these deals that you're putting together is enormous. So I think everyone should feeling pretty lucky that you're part of Helen's community and you have these opportunities coming your way, and there'll be more to come.
Yes, absolutely.
There will always be another deal. You can't be idle. If you're idle, the world ends.
Yes. So, any other questions?
We've got a question coming through about the Gosford deal. How's the Gosford deal? Did you go for a drive?
Yes, did go for a drive. The Gosford one, the one that was at 2.25 million, had a couple of vacancies coming through. A few tenants are vacating, but also the building is actually quite old, and the vendor himself owns that unencumbered, so he wants to achieve his price. If he was willing to lower his price, we would have tried to put together a deal. The other deal we are looking at, and this will be a deal that will probably be launched in a couple of months' time, is more a retail deal, because it is a purchase of a medical center and a private, it's like a private hospital medical center. So that one is a $15 to $17 million deal, and that's going to take a lot of time to work through, because they're held by a fund at the moment, and they actually have 3 properties that they're trying to sell or try to liquidate in line. So, but what we're expecting is that I did go for a drive, had a look around, and, you know, Gosford largely was quite busy on the day that I went, even though it was a Monday morning. It's always a good experience to have a look. I'm heading out to the South Coast tomorrow to have a look at some properties as well. So I continuously look at them. Not every one I look at will be a deal that come to fruition today. Sometimes, like I said to the agent with the Gosford one, that when the vendor comes to his senses and realize that this might be a flow-on effect, we'll be there ready to buy. And I've actually said that to a couple of agents, show me stuff, and I'll be saying, look, when the vendor realizes that they need to sell at a different yield now, with some different conditions, we will be ready to buy.
That's the most polite way anybody's ever said, you're out of your freaking mind, your price is way too high. Because we looked at this deal in Gosford, and about 30% of the area became vacant, and he wanted the same price. And it's like, well, no. Why? Like, you've just lost a third of your tenants. Why are we paying for that? So it's always about value for money. It was a nice drive up to Gosford anyway.
It's a day out. So it's the thing is, the deals that we pick are very particular deals, because they match up with the philosophy of what we teach, or what I teach and what I aim for everybody to get a result on. So the deal need to match that. So we're constantly looking at ways of lowering the level of entry for our community, because I know that everyone wants to participate, but some people are inhibited because they don't have that much money to do it. So that's why we're looking at the retail fund, and when that comes through, that bar of entry will be much more, it will be lowered much more, so that you guys can come in and access these kind of deals. We'll just be doing them in a bundle, because to kick off a retail fund we need a minimum of 10 mil, so we'll be kicking off things like that in a more of a bundle, but the entry to that will be somewhere around that $25,000-$30,000 mark, so it's much more accessible for everyone as well. And we can still deliver a result on the back end as well.
Hugely exciting.
And that works with Helen's philosophy of changing people's lives through commercial property. That's what this is all about.
And then, for example, the Maryborough deal, it has a valuation at 2.6 million, and we picked up that, and that was done a year ago, and we picked that up for 2.25 mil. So we know that a post COVID, that we would be able to achieve that easily.
Yep.
So we've built in the equity in the purchase already of that property, not including in rental increases in the next few years.
And a car wash.
Yeah, and a car wash, and also an extension on the lease as well. So we like to buffer it and keep these things in any of the deals that we're doing.
So that's a good one. I like Maryborough.
Yeah. So any other questions?
We don't have any more questions that have come through at this point in time, but that was awesome catching up.
Yeah, well, my thing is look forward to the next deal. We'll release them either meetups or meet them at webinars. We'll keep you guys updated in the next month, every month, with something that we're doing, so that you know how it's tracking along. We are going to see, the same issues that you guys are seeing, just on a little bigger scale. So we'll talk you through any of those. And yeah, always come to us with any questions. Reach out to us. Don't be scared or worried about reaching out. You're not bothering, you're not a burden to any of us. We're here to help you, and we're here together as a community. We're going to get through this, and we'll come out of bigger and better at the other side.
Absolutely.
That's just beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. So everyone's saying thank you very much. And we do have another question. Jörg, that's a great question. If we should we send you deals if we see something?
Yes, if you see something, if you hear something, please do. Please send us some deals. We're happy to work with you on the deals. If it's something you want to do, or something you have someone you're thinking of, or sometimes we've got clients who say, look, I've got a group of medical doctors, or I've got a group of engineers who want to come together and do things. We're happy to look at that. But if you send us the deal and it works out for the group, we'll also make sure we take care of you in the process as well, because it's all got to be fair and equitable for everybody involved.
Yep. It's all about doing the right thing by everybody.
Yeah.
Love that. Love it.
And anybody who's known Helen for a little while now knows that is exactly her MO.
Yeah. A high level of
All
integrity and generosity and giving. All right, that's it. We're getting lots of thank yous from everyone. So tonight was absolutely brilliant. Thank you.
Yes.
It's been great having you guys, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks' time.
Same time, same channel.
Same time, same bat channel. Thanks again to Russell. Thanks, Stephen and Helen.
Thank you, Russell.
And thanks everyone for your questions. See you all.
See you.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.